Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the Meter Up series. My name is Chris, and I'm joined again by Xiaohan, our chief of everything here at Meter, the only place on the internet to get exclusive Meter content first. This is episode number 2 in our series, and we will be diving a little bit more deep on some of the more intricate sides of what Meter has to offer, adding on top to that first introductory interview that we did have with Xiaohan in the first episode. So first things first, before we get everything kicked off, Xiaohan, how's everything going with you?
Hey Chris, everything is doing well. We're had a crazy weekend working on various different things, but we're ready for a new week to bring more stuff from you.
Well, crazy busy is always a good thing in the land of crypto where things are moving a mile a minute. And audience, if you guys have noticed, yes, I probably do sound a little bit different. I got yelled at by my editor to get some better lighting and make sure I had a good mic. So I went ahead and did that. Now, with getting that out of the way, Xiaohan, I would love to hear a little bit more about some of the interoperability and scaling side of what Meter really brings to the table, because to me, that is such a fascinating value proposition and something that Meter does differently than really every other project.
Yeah, maybe let me start with the scaling part first. Scaling, most people what they are thinking about is just how fast the blockchain can process my transaction and what's the price of the gas I have to pay. But there's actually underneath a little bit more than that. The first issue is about decentralization. So for example, many users, when they trade on Uniswap, they notice there's bot trying to front run their transactions and trying to take a profit here and there. That's actually related to uh, fundamentally how the blockchain is designed to order the transactions and how uh, decentralized the blockchain is. So for Meter, we actually put decentralization at the highest priority. So which means we can have thousands of validators to secure the transaction, and none of them can just trying to do bad things by themselves. The other part is in terms of the speed. Many blockchains claim they can process like tens of thousands of transactions per second, but typically use an analogy to explain this. So the Ethereum virtual machine is like a car. So for us, we build a highway to allow the car to drive as fast as it could. But there's people claiming they provided a highway that allow you to drive at a rocket speed. But obviously, that doesn't make sense. No car can drive at that speed. So that's why we're saying, from Meter's perspective, we can provide the most decentralized and fastest blockchain for processing Ethereum transactions, running Ethereum apps.
And obviously, as an investor, that's going to lead to being able to do a lot of more what we like to do, whether it be swaps, whether it be moving assets around, or one of my favorite possibilities and something that I'm really looking forward to, being able to move assets from chain to chain. And I know that Meter has obviously taken a very, very strong approach when it comes to the decentralized financial applications in the blockchain world, specifically starting with Ethereum, but also being able to branch out and being able to connect Ethereum and other blockchains together in a way that is pretty unique. So maybe we could touch on a little bit more about what Meter is really doing when it comes to interoperability and what that's going to mean for the general trader and the person that could be potentially looking to invest into a project like Meter, looking at the long-term benefits.
Yeah, so for interoperability, we can look at it from the evolution of technology's perspective. So if you look at how Ethereum or other like the blockchain are designed, it's more like a local area network or LAN. Uh, for like Ethereum, you can also think of it as Ethernet. Uh, there is also interoperability, second generation interoperability projects like Cosmos, Polkadot. So they design their system more like a homogeneous system, which means they are like a franchise. Uh, if you follow my standard, if you follow the way I do things, you can communicate with each other. But if you look at the real world, there's already existing blockchains or like existing business running. It doesn't make sense to have everyone adopt to the same franchise or like everyone to follow McDonald's, right? Um, what Meter trying to do is that instead of asking everybody to change, to adopt to a new standard, we say we can connect everyone as is. You don't have to change the way you're doing business, you're running your blockchain. We can help you to directly moving assets around. That's a goal of Meter. In terms of benefit for the traders, it provides you the freedom. Um, in terms of benefit to the traders or individual investors, what they're trying to do is really provide you the freedom of going wherever you want. It's like giving you a passport, and the chains that Meter connects to is just like different visas on the passport. Whenever you bring this passport, they can help you to move the assets from one country or one blockchain to another blockchain. It give you that flexibility to find where you could find the best trading price or where you can find the best yield in the system without worry about the frictions of going across blockchain boundaries.
Just like you need a passport to be able to travel around the world, it sounds like Meter is going to be able to provide those types of services in the blockchain world, and that's something that I'm really excited for. And I know that a lot of people are as well because I think interoperability is one of those problems that has been here for a long time, and until somebody solves it, it's going to be a thorn in a lot of trader sides and a lot of blockchain sides. And we know that there's some people that are trying to, and we're just happy that we're on the front lines and we have an approach that's going to allow us to really solve a lot of big problems. I know that maybe there's some other competitors when it does come to interoperability. Can you talk a little bit about what Meter is doing that's very, very unique on top of the heterogeneous side of things that it can provide for these blockchains so that they can actually be incentivized to want to join Meter as well?
Um, yeah, that's related to how we're thinking to launch our Meter Passport service, which is the N by N router connecting different blockchains. The way we're thinking initially is because we need to have validators or like relayers sitting on looking at the transactions on different blockchains and validating them, and they need to be paid. The initial incentive for them is the transaction fees or like the bridge fees that when you go across uh, the blockchain boundaries. But we understand will create frictions for the users. So what we are planning to do is because we have the MTRG token, we can use this as an incentive or like a rebate for the users. What we're planning to do is we'll provide up to 85% rebate for the user to pay their transaction fees and gas fees when they go across blockchains. This will first reduce the friction, increase the adoption for the N-by-N router or Meter passport, and also it will bring more token holders for the Meter ecosystem because they will have to claim the MTRG token on the Meter mainnet.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first. Meter will be providing a subsidy to be able to use their bridge and move tokens and assets around. Anytime you're going to be spending a gas fee, plan on getting some MTRG back in return, which is an appreciating asset. So I think that sounds like a pretty good deal to me and something that I will be definitely taking advantage of. And I think so will a lot of other people and something we're very excited about.
Yeah, I know we had a little bit of delay on the launch, but right now all the implementations of the Meter Passport is ready. We're just waiting for our BSC full node to get synced with their network. Hopefully, we can get it running in the next day or two. and we'll be ready to go.
Yeah, and the potential of a project is always something that gives people that initial excitement and really gets people moving in a direction to kind of be able to feel like they want to invest or feel like they have something to look forward to. But I think when things really start getting exciting is when we get to see that potential really come to fruition. And with Meter, we really have been able to start seeing the beginnings of what that's going to look like. I know the multi-chain and multi-link connector was actually launched this week in a beta stage, connecting to the Binance Smart Chain, and I know the Ethereum bridge is already up and running. Now, any blockchain is going to be able to be onboarded onto this multi-link connector, and it's essentially going to work seamlessly behind the scenes, which is just an unbelievably valuable proposition to make when it comes to the crypto space and being able to solve a major problem. So, Shahan, I would love to hear a little bit more about this multi-link connector and a little bit more about what Meter is going to be bringing to the table when it comes to giving blockchains and projects and DeFi dApps specifically access to that interoperability that they so desperately want and need.
Yeah, next week when we launch the Meteor Passport, initially we call it in the beta stage because we will be the initial relay to make sure everything is running properly. But within a week or so, we will bring in 5 highly reputable blockchain service, staking service providers to run the uh, Meteor Passport relay service to provide ensured security for the users, which means that they will be managing a multi-sig wallet for the bridge for any tokens you put into the bridge. Uh, this will give you the very high level of security and assurance. Um, some of these relayers validating for BSC, for example, are like running the Avalanche Ethereum chains, Ethereum bridge. So that's step number one. But like even when we launch the bridge, we want to be able to grow our user base with these launches. Right? The way we're looking at it is we'll try to have as many partnerships as possible, especially with some of the major projects, so we can use the bridge service as a way to convert some of their users to MTRG token holders as well. That's why we're having multiple discussions with, for example, some of the big DeFi apps on BSC. So when we bridge the MTRG token over, we can have some like joint liquidity mining to have our names more known to the users over there. And when we launch the Meteor Passport, it's not just for ourselves. Initially, we will also have a like a launch partner with us. That's going to be like a major DF, DeFi DF that many people should know about when we announce it. Um, then this DF will looking forward for them to launch on both BSC and on Meter, and also when we connect to other blockchains, they will use our infrastructure as well. So through these type of collaborations, we will try to increase our user base and build like solid use cases and traction for Meter. So that's our game plan for the Meter Passport.
That's really exciting stuff, Shauhan, and really good to hear. I love getting able to hear a little bit more about getting tapped into these great, already established blockchains that are doing so well for themselves, whether it be working with Ethereum and dApps on Ethereum, specifically on the DeFi side of things that are looking to expand their services or speed things up, whether it be connecting things with to the Binance Smart Chain or even further blockchains to come as we continue to onload people. It's all really exciting stuff. Even the availability of getting listed on some major exchanges too, things like PancakeSwap is we were talking about once we partner with Binance Smart Chain. So for us, looking at it as from the outside in, I think one of the biggest and most important aspects of what Meter has going on right now has to be growth when it comes to uh, partnerships, as you did mention, and it's really good to hear that you guys are taking the steps necessary to be able to form those partnerships. Now, I'm sure that's going to be throwing a lot of extra work on your plate. Are you taking any steps to be able to help facilitate that type of growth? Because I know a lot of projects can be overwhelmed when they do get a lot of influx of business and partnerships and people that are going to be requesting your services.
Chris, you're absolutely correct. I think one of the limitations we had before is we have a very small team. And as we start growing the capacity, both my personal and also our development team cannot keep up. So that's why in the last couple of weeks, we have put a lot of focus onto like hiring front. For example, we already hired a few new developers into our team to speed up the future development. Obviously, it still takes a little bit of time for them to ramp up, but we should see the development speed accelerate moving forward. And also on the business, obviously on the marketing side, you are already helping us and working with us, so that's great. On the business development side, we have engaged with like an external team that's going to help us to do partnerships and outreach. We also have like multiple candidates that we're discussing to help us on the business development front for these partnerships. The goal is to have as many like real use cases, especially for the Meteor passport, because it's immediately actionable as possible, so we can see faster growth moving forward.
Well, Xiaohan, thank you so much for being our guest. As always, it's a pleasure having you. And guys, that's going to wrap it up for Meter Up episode 2. I want to thank you all for joining us. Don't forget, please like, subscribe, smash that like button, and make sure that bell notification is on so that you are getting notified when we are releasing a new episode, because this is going to be the place where we're going to talk about the technology associated with Meter, the announcements coming up with Meter, and of course, it's a great place to just be able to learn about your favorite crypto project that's up and coming in Meter. So in the description, you will find all of our social medias, our Twitters, our Telegrams, and please make sure that you go and check those out as well. Those are great places to become more familiarized with Meter and to just be a part of a great community where people are talking about the project and sharing ideas. This is definitely a time where there's a lot of exciting stuff going on. And if you are subscribed and you do have those notification bell on, you will be the first to be notified when we do have new episodes coming out. Now, special announcement. This Saturday, we will be hosting episode 3 of the Meter Up series live. We will be having a live showing and live taping with the community to do a Q&A with Xiaohan and myself, answering any questions that you may have about Meter, about us, about the project in general, things to come. Obviously, we're not going to be able to answer everything if you're asking specific questions about certain alpha that we can't release yet, but it's going to be a great opportunity to learn a little bit more about the actual project and to get involved. And we want to make sure that your questions are that we're hearing them, that we're answering them, and that we're taking it seriously to give you the kind of information that you need to know the direction that we're going in, and so that everyone can come together as one big community. So I appreciate your time, everybody. Thanks so much again for tuning in. My name is Chris, and I'm signing off.